So today we'll be covering current affairs for the third week of December. So let's just directly get into it. The first topic of our week is Sustainable Mountain Development Summit. All right. Recently, the 9th edition of Sustainable Mountain Development Summit has taken place. And as we all know that the Himalayan region was covered with forest, and all of us, including the communities and the governments, must work towards conserving the rich natural resources of the region, of course, right? तो इसी गोल को further pursue करने के लिए recently Indian Mountain Development Summit, this one, has Indian Mountain Development Summit was organized by Indian Mountain इनिशिएटिव राइट जिसका ऑब्जेक्टिव है कि इंडियन हिमालयाज के जो भी इश्यूज हैं उनको लुक आफ्टर करना फॉर एग्जांपल the issue of migration, the issue of water security, climate resilience, right? And of course, the biggest issue of disaster risk. इस बारी का जो थीम था वो था emerging pathways for building a resilient post-COVID-19 mountain economy, adaptation, innovation, and acceleration. All right. Now, talking about the Integrated Mountain Initiative, it is also known as Indian Mountain Initiative. It is basically a civil society. ये एक civil society है जो कि Himalayan region के different stakeholders को एक common platform provide करता है to discuss issues related to the development of Himalayan region. So that was majorly about this topic. You can definitely quote this summit in your mains examination. तो exam perspective से भी ये important है. So that was majorly about this one. Next up we have Climate Ambition Summit 2020. So recently we saw that it was 5-year anniversary of Paris Agreement on 12th of December 2020. So the Paris Agreement, as we discussed in our previous lectures as well, its major goal was to keep warming well below 2 degrees Celsius and if possible to 1.5 degrees Celsius. Along with that, it was also agreed by all the parties that, there would be a common but differentiated responsibilities, and that's why the developed countries who were historically responsible for the emissions, the major emission, pledged that they would give $100 billion per year for the climate change mitigation. Right now, this year, due to pandemic, that COP, that is Conference of Parties, could not be held. But instead of this, the Climate Ambition Summit 2020 took place. So now let us talk about the summit itself. So its major aim was to bring together leaders to make new commitments to tackle climate change and deliver on goals of Paris climate, जिसके अभी 5 साल पूरे हुए हैं. Right now, let us talk about the major highlights of the summit. So here, talking about the major highlights of the summit, here 75 leaders announced new commitments to mitigate climate change, which is a positive development, of course. Like for example, United Kingdom pledged to double its climate finance contribution to US dollar 15.5 billion over next 5 years. European Investment Bank ने भी announce किया है a goal of 50% of investment going towards the climate and environment sector by 2025. So these are some of the initiative taken by some of the countries. Now, along with them, let us also talk about the commitments with respect to India. So according to our Prime Minister, India is not only on the track to achieve its Paris Agreement target, but to exceed them beyond expectations. All right, so ये वाली कुछ चीज़ें हैं जो इंडिया ने हाईलाइट किया है इस समिट में. सो इंडिया हैज़ रिड्यूस इट्स एमिशन बाय 21% ओवर 2005 लेवल और रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी कैपेसिटी में भी वी स्टैंड एट the fourth position. It will reach 175 gigawatt before 2020. If we talk about the solar capacity, so isme bhi we have grown from 2.63 gigawatts in 2014 to 36 gigawatts in 2020. Along with them, he also, our Prime Minister also spoke about the two major initiatives we took. The first one is International Solar Alliance and the second is Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure. Okay? So there was majorly about this topic. You must remember the major things about Paris Agreement and of course this Climate Ambition Summit. Iska major aim kya hai? These are the major things you need to remember about this. That was all about this one. Plasmodium ovale. So in this topic, we will be dealing with all the important questions questions having exam relevancy with respect to Plasmodium and malaria. ठीक है? So malaria is not caused by a mosquito. Rather, malaria is caused by a parasite that mosquito carries. Okay? Malaria is caused by a protozoan genus Plasmodium. ठीक है? And the mosquito in this case is specifically female Anopheles mosquito. ठीक है? Malaria is a problem especially in developing and tropical countries. There are 5 kind of malarial parasites of the Plasmodium. The first one is Plasmodium falciparum, which is the most dangerous one. The next one is Plasmodium vivax, is the most commonest one. The third one is Plasmodium malariae. And next one we have Plasmodium ovale, which is similar to Plasmodium vivax only and is endemic to tropical Western Africa. And the last one we have is Plasmodium knowlesi. ठीक है? If we talk about the malaria burden in our country, so out of 1.57 lakh malaria cases in high burden states of Odisha, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Meghalaya and Madhya Pradesh in 2019, 1.1 lakh cases, that is 70% of it, were cases of falciparum malaria. Like I told you that this is the most dangerous one. Also, according to the World Malaria Report 2020, cases in malaria in India dropped about 20 million in 2000 to about 5.6 million in 2019. ठीक है? So यही कुछ चीज़ें थी which you can remember regarding Plasmodium and malaria. Nothing more than this. आपको अगर आएगा तो इसी में से they'll ask you about Plasmodium or this disease malaria. ठीक है? Nothing more than this you need to remember. Next up we have Myristica swamp tree frog. So this is a new species of tree frog that has been recorded for the first time in Kerala. So all the new species discovered or the species in news become directly important for our exam. They directly ask questions from here, right? So let us now know more about this species. So this frog is arboreal, means it it lives on trees most of the time, and it is endemic to Western Ghats. Western Ghats in itself is one of the favorite topics of UPSC. So about this topic, ज़्यादा आपको याद रखने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. Just 2 things you can remember. First, of course, the name of it, and second, the location of it, right? Just 2 things you need to remember. That was majorly about this topic. Next up we have Himalayan Siro. So in the Spiti region of Himachal Pradesh, Himalayan Siro has been spotted for the first time. Let us first understand as to what is Himalayan Siro. So a biologist has described a Himalayan Siro as resembling a cross between a goat, a donkey, a cow and a pig. ये goat जैसा दिखता है basically, but it is not exactly a goat. When it is then what it is, when we cross a goat, donkey, cow and pig, we get a siro, right? So let us now read about certain other things about the species. So there are several species of siros and all of them are found in Asia. ठीक है? किस altitude पे ये मिलते हैं? They're found at altitude between 2000 meters and 4000 meters, right? One important point you must remember अपने एग्जाम के लिए is that they are not found in trans-Himalayan region. ये यहाँ नहीं मिलता है. Another most important fact for our exam perspective is its IUCN Red List status, which is vulnerable, और Wildlife Protection Act 1972 में Schedule 1 में ये fall करता है. ठीक है? तो ये कुछ मेजर चीज़ें थी हिमालयन सीरोज के बारे में. Next up we have INS Himgiri. So there is a project of Indian Navy called Project 17A. Under this, Indian Navy is developing various frigates. Frigates is nothing but a warship. So there are total 7 frigates which they will be developing. So recently INS Himgiri, the first of the 3 Project 17A ship, was launched by Indian Navy. Let us first understand about Project 17. So Project 17 क्लास को हम शिवालिक क्लास भी कहते हैं. क्या कहते हैं? शिवालिक क्लास भी कहते हैं, जिसका नाम शिवालिक हिल्स पे पड़ा है. ठीक है? Which is a class of multi-role frigates in service with Indian Navy. Now the improved version of 17 is Project 17A, जिसको हम नीलगिरी क्लास फ्रिगेट भी कहते हैं, क्योंकि हम यहाँ पर टोटल 7 शिप्स बनाने वाले हैं, जिसमें से फर्स्ट शिप का नाम है नीलगिरी, जिसके नाम पे इसको हम नीलगिरी क्लास फ्रिगेट भी कहते हैं. and the other 6 are Himgiri, Taragiri, Udaygiri, Dunagiri, Vindhyagiri, and Mahendragiri, right? So P-17A class frigates जो हैं they are being built using indigenously developed steel. P-17A ships में काफ़ी चीज़ों को integrate किया गया है. For example, BrahMos की supersonic missile has been integrated in this. इसमें even heavy torpedo launchers को भी include किया गया है, which means it can also work like an anti-submarine ship. And along with BrahMos, we have also included Barak 8 supersonic surface to air missile in this, right? As we can read here that Project 17A or Nilgiri class frigate is follow on of Project 17 Shivali class frigate for the Indian Navy. A total of 7 ships are being built, 4 at Mazagaon Dock Shipbuilders Limited and 3 ships at GRSE, that is Garden Reach Shipbuilders and Engineers. So that was all about this topic. Next up we have Bsnln satellite based IoT. So the Bsnl has launched the world's first satellite based narrow band IoT, that is Internet of Things network, in partnership with Skylotech India. Now the major question arises here is what is NB-IoT and what are its uses? Okay, so let us now break the word and then understand the meaning of NB-IoT. So here the word narrow band means its spectrum band based on which it works is narrow, right? Now getting into a little more detail of it, you must have heard of LTE, that is long term evolution, जिसके basis पे 4G काम करता है. So LTE का spectrum is a broad spectrum, right? But on the other hand, NB-IoT uses a subset of LTE standard. मतलब ये LTE के broad spectrum में से एक narrow band में काम करता है, right? इसके क्या advantages हैं? So now talking about the advantages, इसका बहुत कम power consumption होता है क्योंकि इसका नैरो बैंड होता है. देन इसका इजीली ये डिप्लॉय हो सकता है. इसकी नेटवर्क सिक्योरिटी होती है और ये रिलायबल भी होता है. एंड ऑफ कोर्स इसका कंपोनेंट कॉस्ट भी काफ़ी कम होता है. Now talking about the Internet of Things. So Internet of Things is a new a new concept these days and very important for our exam. So IoT refers to a system of interrelated internet connected objects that are able to collect and transfer data over a wireless network without human intervention. So IoT may the personal and the business possibilities are endless. So IoT is a very important topic of science and tech for our exam perspective. तो ये एक नई टेक्नोलॉजी के बारे में we just read. That was all about this technology. Next up we have Lancet Citizens Commission on Reimagining India's Health System. So recently Lancet introduces a commission for universal health coverage online. ठीक है? So and it is in collaboration with world's leading health journal, the Lancet and the Lakshmi Mittal and Family South Asia Institute and Harvard University, right? इसका मेजर ऑब्जेक्टिव क्या है? इट्स मेजर ऑब्जेक्टिव इज टू सी कि यूनिवर्सल हेल्थ कवरेज का इम्प्लीमेंटेशन कैसे हो, राइट? एंड हाउ दे विल बी डूइंग इट, मतलब ये उसका इम्प्लीमेंटेशन करने के लिए क्या चीज़ें करने वाले हैं. सो दे विल बी फॉर्मुलेटिंग अ रोड मैप टू इम्प्लीमेंट दिस. दे विल बी कंडक्टिंग ग्रास रूट सर्वेज. दे विल बी बिल्डिंग पार्टनरशिप and they'll be working closely with the academic institutions and civil societies to make it happen. So that was all about this topic. Next up we have scheme for approval of hygiene rating audit agencies. So QCI, that is Quality Council of India, at the order of FSSAI, has launched a scheme for approval of hygiene rating audit agencies. In this particular topic, more than the scheme, the two bodies mentioned here are really important for our exam. ठीक है, ये जो दो बॉडीज यहाँ पर दी हुई हैं ये ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है हमारे एग्जाम के लिए. द फर्स्ट वन इज क्वालिटी काउंसिल ऑफ इंडिया. सो द क्वालिटी काउंसिल ऑफ इंडिया इज एन ऑटोनमस बॉडी दैट वर्क टुवर्ड assuring quality standard across all the spheres of economic and social activities. Now talking about FSSAI, so it is again an autonomous body, ठीक है, established under which ministry? Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Again, ministries always are important, and it has been established under Food Safety and Standards Act 2006, which is Responsible for what? Responsible for protecting and promoting public health through regulations and supervision of food safety. ठीक है, तो ये जो भी bodies होती हैं, they are always important from a exam perspective. So you must know at least major points about certain bodies which are specifically news. Like आज हमने ये 2 bodies के साथ deal किया. You must remember certain points about them. ठीक है. Next up we have India Water Impact Summit. So recently, India Water Impact Summit was organized by National Mission for Clean Ganga and Center for Ganga River Basin Management and Studies. यहाँ पर बहुत सारे experts and academicians from all over the world came and discussed the issues regarding water conservation and river rejuvenation, so as to develop the solutions to some of the biggest water related issues in our country, right? Here again, the body becomes important for our exam, which is NMCG, ठीक है, National Mission for Clean Ganga. So NMCG was registered as a society under Society Registration Act 1860. It also acted as implementation arm of National Ganga River Basin Authority, जिसको Environment Protection Act 1986 के अंडर कॉन्स्टिट्यूट किया गया था. ठीक है, इसका थीम ये था, अर्थ गंगा रिवर कंजर्वेशन सिंक्रोनाइज्ड डेवलपमेंट. वी हैव रेड अबाउट NMCG. So bodies are always important. Like I said, you can definitely quote this summit in your mains examination. That was majorly, these are the things you need to remember आपके exam के लिए. ठीक है. Next up we have Dark Pay. So Indian Post Payment Bank and Department of Post ने एक digital payment service launch की है called Dark Pay, जिसके through बिना किसी charge के we can transfer the money. So it is basically to facilitate easy digital transaction and other banking services, right? And all this is happening under a major initiative that our government has taken place, that is to provide digital financial inclusion at the last mile across India. Is app mein you will have to create a UPI ID and link it with your bank account, and then of course you can transfer the money. Okay, now again talking about the body, because bodies are always important. Here the body is IPPB, that is India Post Payment Bank. So it comes under Ministry of Communication, और इसका मेजर ऑब्जेक्टिव है कि पोस्टल नेटवर्क की रीच को बढ़ाना है अक्रॉस द कंट्री. सो दैट इज ऑल यू नीड टू रिमेंबर रिगार्डिंग दिस न्यू पेमेंट ऐप डार्क पे. ठीक है, इतना ही आपको याद रखने की ज़रूरत है, nothing more than that. Next up we have Human Freedom Index 2020. So recently an index got released where India ranked 111, that is 111 out of 162 countries, called Human Freedom Index 2020. So when we talk about human freedom, what is it? It is basically a social concept that recognizes the dignity of an individual, right? And when we use, to measure this, we use broad things to calculate it. Like for example, the broader things encompasses our personal, civil and economic freedom. And measuring this index is really important because you see, freedom is inherently valuable and it always plays a crucial role in human progress. So from our exam perspective, what is important is who releases it. So it has been released jointly by Fraser Institute in Canada and Cato Institute in USA. And of course, another important fact which we can quote in our mains examination is the position, the ranking where India stands. That is 111 here, 111 here, and India's position has decreased 17 spot from the last index, which is of course not a really good news for all of us. ठीक है, अगर हम first rankers की बात करें, so New Zealand has topped the index, followed by Switzerland and Hong Kong. So who releases it becomes important for our exam, and of course India का क्या position is always important हमारे exam के लिए, right? That was all about it. Next up we have Cms-01 Satellite. So ISRO has launched the country's 42nd communication satellite, जिसका नाम है Cms-01. Due to this pandemic, a lot of missions of ISRO got postponed, and this was the second mission. इससे पहले ISRO sent PSLV C-49, and now they have launched Cms-01 Satellite through PSLV C-50. ठीक है? So this PSLV, that is Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle, has 4 stages with 6 strap-on boosters. And if we talk about the payload, that is Cms-01, is of 1410 kilograms, which will provide services to extended C-band of frequency spectrum. Okay, I'm sure you must be wondering as to what is extended C-band frequency spectrum. लेट्स डील विद इट। तो अगर हम माइक्रोवेव फ्रिक्वेंसी स्पेक्ट्रम में देखें तो सी बैंड की जो फ्रिक्वेंसी रेंज होती है दैट इज वो होती है 4 to 8 गीगाहर्ट्ज, राइट, विच इज प्राइमरली यूज फॉर सैटेलाइट कम्युनिकेशन, राइट। नाउ इफ वी स्पेसिफिकली टॉक अबाउट इट्स कवरेज, तो इसका कवरेज विल इंक्लूड इंडियन मेनलैंड, अंडमान एंड निकोबार एंड लक्षद्वीप आइलैंड्स, ठीक है। कम्युनिकेशन सैटेलाइट्स आर प्लेस्ड इन जियो स्टेशनरी ऑर्बिट, ठीक है। मतलब geostationary orbit मतलब it is a circular orbit which is around 36,000 kilometers above Earth's equator, ठीक है। इसमें सैटेलाइट का जो ऑर्बिटल पीरियड होता है वो अर्थ के रोटेशन पीरियड के बराबर होता है, एंड अ स्पेसक्राफ्ट इन दिस ऑर्बिट अपीयर्स टू एन ऑब्जर्वर ऑन अर्थ टू बी स्टेशनरी इन द स्काई, ठीक है। इसलिए हम इसको जियो स्टेशनरी ऑर्बिट कहते हैं, राइट। CMS-01 जो है विल बी रिप्लेसिंग GSAT-12 जो कि हमने 2011 में लॉन्च करी थी, ठीक है। दिस इज अ रियली इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक फॉर योर GS पेपर 3 साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी, ठीक है, ऑलवेज इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर आवर एग्जाम। तो that was majorly about this topic. Next up we have Champions of Earth Award. There's nothing much you need to remember about this topic, just 2-3 things जो आपको याद रखनी है इसमें। सबसे पहले who announces it, so United Nation Environment Program announces it, ठीक है। It was launched in 2005 और United Nation का highest environment honor है ये, ठीक है। ये कुछ following categories के लिए मिलता है। I'll just read them out, those categories for you. So the first one is lifetime achievement, policy leadership के लिए, action and inspiration के लिए, entrepreneur vision के लिए, science and innovation के लिए। So ये सब categories हैं। So the really important fact is this one only, the UNEP announces it, ठीक है, and it is the highest environmental honor, ठीक है। यही कुछ 2-3 चीज़ें थी which you should remember about this topic, nothing much. Next up we have Griha Summit. So recently the inaugural summit for Griha was organized, and the major idea behind this summit was to discuss on innovative technology which could help in building green buildings, right? So just remember that Griha is associated with green building construction. Let us know more about Griha now. So Griha, that is green rating for integrated habitat assessment. It is a national rating system for India, for any completed building construction. Griha is an independent, non-for-profit society jointly set up by TERI, that is the Energy and Resources Institute and Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, right? इस बारी का इसका थीम, मतलब इसका जो थीम है वो है rejuvenating resilient habitats, and the major objective of Griha is to help design green buildings and in turn help evaluate greenness of the buildings, right? Griha is also recognized as India's own green building rating system in India's INDC, that is intended nationally determined contributions. INDCs are nothing but they are intended reduction in greenhouse gas emissions under United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, that is UNFCCC, ठीक है। तो ये आपको गृह के बारे में कुछ चीज़ें याद रखनी है। That was all about this topic. Next up we have currency watch list. Recently, USA has again added India to currency manipulator watch list. We will now be reading कि ये currency manipulation क्या होता है and what are its major implication, right? So currency manipulation in short is causing weakening of local currency to boost the country's export. और अब यूएस के लोगों को इंडियन सामान काफ़ी सस्ता पड़ेगा जो हम एक्सपोर्ट करेंगे, ठीक है। बट यहाँ पर जिस कंट्री को हम एक्सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं, फॉर एग्जांपल यूएस इन दिस केस, उसको लॉस होगा क्योंकि उसका ट्रेड डेफिसिट बढ़ जाएगा इंडिया के साथ, ठीक है। एंड दिस इंक्रीज ट्रेड डेफिसिट इज द प्रॉब्लम फॉर यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स. All right, this is the major thing about manipulation, currency manipulation, ठीक है। Now why they put India again in this list? So there are several criteria which needs to be fulfilled to be placed in this list, and the first criteria is that India enjoys a trade surplus of $22 billion in the first 4 quarters through June 2020 with USA, right? और जो दूसरा criteria है is that US also said that RBI keeps purchasing dollars in huge quantity from the forex market.